He's a Triple S legendary hero, so why are his stats so unbelievably low? His skills are only F rank and D rank. And worst of all, he's not fighting the demons. He's fighting for the Demon Queen. He doesn't have time to think about it. The Demon General charges forward, swinging a vicious vertical slash. The hero sidesteps at the last second and drives his fist straight into the monster's face. Crack! Another punch follows, slamming into its plexus. The creature staggers but quickly tries to retaliate. Our boy immediately dashes backward and studies his opponent. The ugly albino pig demon is still standing. "You're tougher than you look," he mutters. The monster growls and decides to take the offensive. And that's exactly what the hero was waiting for. Using the technique taught to him by a demon commander, he plans to use the creature's own weight against it. The moment the monster steps forward, he moves. His hand drives into the demon's belly like a cannon shot. Bazooka! His arm sinks deep between the ribs. Instant devastation. A violent shockwave erupts from inside the creature. The scientist watching from the grandstand nearly jumps to his feet. How is that even possible? The pig demon crashes to the floor. A crater is carved into its chest. The hero slowly raises his arm. From the sidelines, the Demon Queen watches in silence. Even she is surprised by how much stronger the legendary hero has become in only 2 months. Despite working under her command, he is evolving at a frightening rate, a rate that could one day threaten every demon alive. But how did an SS-Rank hero end up fighting for the demons? In his previous life, his name was Choi, an MMA fighter whose career was finally taking off. He came from nothing. No wealthy sponsors, no famous coaches, just a guy with too much anger and a love for fighting. After years of struggle, he finally landed a championship title fight, the biggest opportunity of his life. The prize money was enough to pay off his sister's debts and move his mother into a decent apartment. Everything was finally falling into place. Then fate stepped in. On his way home from training, disaster struck. The unavoidable claimed another victim. Everything went black. When he opens his eyes again, he finds himself in a strange white space. Suddenly, a portal opens. An angel appears. She has bombs hanging around her and an expression that immediately makes him question everything. "You're dead," she says casually. "Straight to the point, huh?" Choi replies. The angel introduces herself as Rael. She explains that she recruits people who died on Earth. Curious, Choi approaches her. "Recruiting dead people? That sounds suspicious already." Rael ignores the comment. "You have 2 choices." She raises one finger. "Accept death and reincarnate as a complete loser." Then a second finger. "Or travel to another world and become an incredible SS-Rank hero." Choi narrows his eyes. "The offer sounds way too good. I need time to think." Rael immediately shakes her head. No, you're not understanding this." She starts rambling about how amazing his new life will be. The more she talks, the more suspicious he becomes. Finally, Rael takes a deep breath. "Listen carefully." She points dramatically into the distance. "You'll be born in a peaceful village. Okay. You'll complete an easy quest. And then the village lord will personally offer you his beautiful daughter in marriage." Silence. Choi simply stares at her. Rael blinks. "Why aren't you excited?" "Because that sounds fake." The angel's eye twitches. "It's not fake." When he still doesn't react, she turns away dramatically. "Fine, I'll leave. You can just reincarnate normally." "Wait," Rael glances over her shoulder. "If you reject this offer, you might not even reincarnate as a human next time." That gets his attention. Immediately, Choi grabs her leg. "I accept." "Say it properly." "I accept." "Properly." "I want to be the hero who marries the village lord's daughter." Rael instantly smiles. "Perfect." Then she claps her hands. "We're starting right now." Choi freezes. "Right now? Why wait? Shouldn't you explain literally anything first?" Too late. A magic circle appears beneath him. Light engulfs his body, and he vanishes. Rael watches him disappear. Then she turns toward the other angels. Transfer successful. The next thing Choi knows, someone is telling him to open his eyes. For a brief moment, he wonders if this is the village chief Rael mentioned. Maybe things really are going according to plan. Then a fist crashes into his stomach. His eyes snap open. "What the hell?" The figure standing before him isn't human. It wears the skull of a horned wild boar. The creature snarls. "Stop slacking off, human." Choi stares. Was this seriously the village chief? No chance. This looked like the kind of monster heroes were supposed to kill. Carefully, he introduces himself. "I'm a hero." The creature stares blankly. Then it starts laughing. "A hero?" It steps closer. "Heroes keep getting dumber every year." Now Choi is beginning to think something has gone horribly wrong. Still, he wants to believe Rail didn't trick him. Maybe this monster is his first quest. Trying to stay calm, he prepares himself. Then the creature asks, "What did you just say?" Without hesitation, Choi kicks it. "Die!" For about 1 second, he's proud of himself. Then the creature catches his foot effortlessly. "Seriously?" The monster sighs. Another fake hero. The creature clenches its fist. A beating should fix that. As Choi adjusts to the darkness of his cell, loud banging echoes through the prison. Someone is screaming outside. "Open the door! I want a rematch with that cow-headed bastard!" The door swings open. An angry goblin carrying a sword storms inside. "Shut up!" The goblin points its blade. "Keep yelling and I'll boil you into soup." The prisoner immediately quiets down. "So that's how things work around here," Choi mutters. After the goblin leaves, he leans against the wall. "This was supposed to be a beautiful fantasy world," he sighs. "At this rate, I'm going to die a virgin twice." A voice suddenly comes from a small window in the wall. "Hey, rookie." Choi looks up. "Who's there?" The man smiles. "A senior hero." The explanation that follows shatters every remaining illusion. This fortress belongs to the Demon King's army. Humans here are slaves. Looking through the opening, Choi is shocked to discover another Korean. "Sunbai!" The older man laughs. Then he shouts toward the neighboring cells. "Hey! Any heroes still alive out there?" Voices answer from every direction. "Still alive!" "Barely, unfortunately. The fortress is full of heroes. All of them trapped. All of them victims." Stunned, Choi asks what happened. The senior hero casually explains that more than 100 heroes are imprisoned inside the fortress. The red cow-headed creature is Reed Run, the fortress chief. The goblin guard is Jark, one of the cruelest guards around. Then he reveals the real reason they are all there. Rail, the so-called angel. The older man's expression darkens. "That woman isn't an angel." His voice becomes bitter. "She's a devil in disguise." Choi stares in disbelief. The man explains that everything happened because of Rail's mistake. Now panic starts creeping into Choi's mind. Weren't heroes supposed to start somewhere better than this? Normally, yes. Heroes usually appear in villages or cities, not inside a demon fortress. That realization finally hits him. The reason he ended up in this nightmare was Rail, and suddenly he can picture her stupid, smiling face perfectly. A few days later, the 2nd Slave Squad of the 3rd Battalion marches through the fortress. Humans work under brutal conditions, while goblins watch from every direction. They are even forced to chant, "Crush the humans! Eat the humans!" Hansuk trembles with exhaustion as he carries an enormous log while a goblin rides on top of it. Finally, the bell rings. Work is over. Back inside his cell, the protagonist thought prison almost felt better than the exhausting labor outside. Then a thought hit him. Rail's words. Special hero privileges. Worth a try. He focused and activated the command. Status window. To his surprise, it actually responded. A translucent panel appeared in front of him. He studied it carefully. So this was his strength, his limits, his reality. From the next cell, Hansuk muttered in disbelief. The man beside him overheard immediately. "Wait, you already have level 1 stamina?" He leaned closer, eyes widening. "Strength 28? A moment of silence. Then he exhaled sharply. "That's not normal for a level 1. The protagonist shrugged. "I'm still just a slave." But the man shook his head. "No, not with those stats." His voice lowered. "You could escape with this. You could become a real hero." The protagonist didn't answer. He lay back down, pretending to sleep, but his mind kept turning. Still too weak. Not enough. Later, when the cell finally went quiet, he quietly sat up again. He reopened the status window. This time, something stood out. Mana and hero points. Hero points? No one else seemed to have them. That meant no one had ever earned them before. Suddenly, a flash of light filled the cell. Whoosh! Rail appeared again, floating smugly with a playful smile. "Miss me?" She tilted her head teasingly, then leaned in. "Want some interesting information?" Before she could continue, thud! She was grabbed mid-air. The protagonist held her firmly, expression cold. "I don't care." His grip tightened slightly. "I don't care about hero points or your explanations." Rail froze. "Hey, careful!" A moment later, zip! She was tied up and hanging like bait. "This is abuse of a guide," she muttered. She quickly forced a smile. Okay. Listen, the summoning system got messed up because someone spilled coffee." "Shh!" A soundproof barrier activated. The room went silent. The protagonist narrowed his eyes. "So this is punishment?" Rael shook her head fast. "No, I was assigned as your personal fairy." She straightened slightly. "I'm supposed to guide you until you defeat the Demon King." The protagonist's expression stayed unchanged. "I'm not interested." Rael blinked. "What?" "I said I don't care about the Demon King." His voice was calm. "I want a normal life." Rael frowned. "That's what all heroes say at first." She pointed at him. "But your potential is SS rank." He cut her off immediately. "Talent doesn't mean I owe anyone anything." Silence. Rael's expression stiffened. He continued, "I never agreed to any destiny. I'm done with fighting." That hit differently. For a moment, Rael didn't respond. She just stared, because she finally realized this wasn't a typical hero. The protagonist spoke again. "You have to follow my orders, right?" "Yes," Rael admitted reluctantly. "Then help me escape." Rael hesitated. "Fine." Before anything else, clang! Clang, clang. The door rattled. Goblins entered to wake the prisoners. The cell block filled with noise. "Get up! Move!" Rael whispered angrily. "I could have hidden myself with stealth magic." No reply. Even after roll call ended, Jark remained standing outside his cell, silent, watching. Then he spoke. "Redrun wants to see you." At the office, Redrun sat calmly, Jark perched on his shoulder. He studied the protagonist. "You've been performing well." The protagonist blinked slightly. Even Rael paused. Redrun continued. "At first, I thought you were just another insane human." A pause. "But I was wrong. So I'll promote you." The protagonist frowned. "Promote?" Redrun nodded. "Head slave." Silence. Rael instantly panicked. "No, reject it." But both guards had already heard her. "What was that?" Thinking fast. Thud! The protagonist slammed his head into the desk in a deep bow. "I accept." Redrun paused, then slowly smiled. "I like this one. If you continue, I may even recommend you to the Demon King's army." A few days later, clang, clang, clang. The slaves worked under harsh supervision. "Move faster." "Even my grandmother is faster than that," Rael whispered urgently. "You're going insane." "I know what I'm doing," he added calmly. "A sparrow like you wouldn't understand a phoenix." System notification. Charisma increased. The slaves murmured. "He's completely lost it." But Redrun watched and smiled. Later. Favorability increased. Ding! The system confirmed it. Quest complete. 100 hero points awarded. Rael froze. It actually worked. The protagonist exhaled slowly. "Step 2 begins now." Redrun frowned. "Training slaves?" The protagonist nodded. "If we organize them, productivity triples. In a week, this fortress can be fully optimized." Rael snapped. "This is insane." But Redrun paused, then nodded. Approved. Clack. Decision made. Back in the cell, Rael looked exhausted. "You're training slaves for demons now." The protagonist didn't react. "I already have a plan." Rael narrowed her eyes. "You're lying again, aren't you?" He looked at her calmly. "No." "Then there are 3,000 slaves here, 500 soldiers, and a human alliance base nearby. If we trigger chaos, we escape." Hearing that, Rael's earlier despair slowly shifted into admiration. "You're not as dumb as I thought," she admitted reluctantly. The protagonist ignored her tone. Next, Hyenso decided to check the quest rewards. Rael, still suspicious, narrowed her eyes. "Are you sure those hero points are real, or is this another scam?" The protagonist exhaled. "It's real." He opened the hero system interface. Shing! A glowing menu unfolded in front of him. "The hero store is unlocked." He stared at it, expecting something powerful, something that would finally give him real strength. But his expression froze. What is this? The list was absurd. Hold your breath. Frank improves breathing control. Holding increases ability to endure bathroom urgency. Rael blinked. "Seriously?" Hansuk from the side let out a dry laugh. "Yeah, that one should have been SS rank, especially in emergencies." More options appeared. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, silence. The protagonist's face darkened. "How is any of this supposed to help a hero?" Rael sighed. "This is only level 1. She pointed at the screen. "If you earn more hero points and upgrade the store, better skills will appear." The protagonist clicked his tongue. "Shut up!" He shot her a glare. "You scam fairy." Rael froze. "Excuse me?" The next day. Clang, clang. The slaves lined up under harsh supervision. "Salute the Demon King army." The protagonist and Silic stood watching as they forced the formation. With a signal, begin the chant. The slaves raised their voices. We, the great Demon King army. Defeat humans. Eat humans. Forget your pain when you catch them. Nothing under the sky compares to the Demon King's love. Clap! Red Run watched silently. A satisfied smile formed. Good. His plan to improve productivity was working. Suddenly, bang! The office door exploded open. Jark rushed in. Emergency report. His voice was sharp. The human army is moving toward the fortress. The 8th Division has already been trapped and forced to retreat. Rail stiffened. What? Jark continued urgently. If even the 8th Division fell, they'll reach us soon. But Red Run remained calm. Evacuate? He tilted his head slightly. Not necessary. He spoke slowly. Wars are decided by supply lines. Then added coldly, never lose a good supply officer. He turned away. Jark, prepare evacuation routes. I'll handle Hansuk first. Rail went pale. He's insane. Meanwhile, the protagonist stood among the slaves. Move. His voice was sharp. Faster. He glanced at his status window. Stats were increasing, but too slowly. Not enough. He clenched his fist. If something doesn't happen soon... Thud! A hand landed on his shoulder. The protagonist jolted. He spun around. Red Run stood behind him. Urgent. No time. Come with me. Now. Before he could ask, boom! The battlefield erupted. Human soldiers charged into the fortress. For the Alliance! Steel clashed. Goblins were cut down, but suddenly the soldiers froze because they saw him, Red Run. The Red Nightmare. A commander screamed, retreat! Pull back, knights, engage! But momentum had already taken over. The protagonist watched in shock. Human army, here? His mind raced. If I use this, I could kill Red Run and escape. A soldier suddenly screamed. Die, Red Nightmare! He charged. Red Run didn't even blink. Crack! He grabbed the soldier's head and crushed it instantly. The protagonist froze. Then Red Run moved. Whoom! A brutal technique followed. The 7th movement. The soldier's body slammed into the ground. Boom! An explosive shockwave erupted outward. Earth shattered. Human soldiers were blown away. Silence followed. Red Run turned slightly. You okay? The protagonist reflexively saluted. I'm fine. Then, under his breath, I should leave soon. Because for the first time, he truly realized he was standing next to a monster. Human forces quickly secured the area. Flags were planted. Soldiers separated captives. Warriors stepped forward. The chosen were taken away. Soon, a man arrived. Ollivander, red-haired, bearded, Duke of the Drossen Empire, commander of the Allied army. Evacuation complete. He nodded. Then his voice cooled. Begin operation. All units. Take positions. A pause. Then, kill all warriors in sight. Later, a carriage moved through the forest. Inside, silence. The protagonist stared out the window. His dream of a second life felt further away than ever. Across from him, Red Run sat quietly. Rail whispered. Opportunity. Crises always create opportunities. Shut up, the protagonist muttered. Red Run suddenly spoke. I must have dozed off. He turned slightly. Did you say something? The protagonist quickly shook his head. Nothing. I was just honored to travel with you. Red Run nodded calmly. We're close to 3rd Corps headquarters. Once we arrive, I'll formally enlist you. The protagonist went pale. It's an honor. Rail stayed completely silent. At headquarters. Red Run has returned. The gates opened instantly. Commander is waiting. Red Run walked forward. You're coming with me. Then, quietly, watch your words. If you want to survive, the protagonist swallowed hard. Survive even in a tiger's den. He nodded. Inside, the door opened. A woman's voice echoed. Welcome back, Red Run. The protagonist looked up and froze. A woman sat there, elegant, terrifying, beautiful. Long ears, sharp nails, strange markings along her neck. Absolute authority. This is Hemis, commander of the 3rd Corps. She smiled slightly. You've grown stronger, Red Run replied casually, and you've grown more beautiful. The protagonist blushed instantly. She's the commander? His mind went blank. Do I praise her too? Before he could decide, Hemi stepped forward. She looked him over. Cute. Then added calmly, you won't survive long in the demon army. She glanced at Red Run. You agree? He nodded. The others will eat him alive. Then, I want permission to train him. Hemis replied instantly. Denied. A pause. Then something horrifying happened. Shh! Her body twisted unnaturally, like a flower blooming, but wrong, full of teeth. A split second later, she shoved her hand into her own mouth. Crunch! The protagonist went rigid. What the hell? When she pulled back, she held a small black creature, a dog-like beast. "This is Babbo," she smiled softly. "Isn't he adorable?" The protagonist stared at it. This is a pet. Inside his mind, only one thought remained. What kind of place is this? He picked up Bobo and lifted him slightly, his expression sharp. "Do you people even know who this fearless one is?" The goblins froze. They stared at the small creature in confusion. "That's Bobo?" They whispered among themselves, clearly unsure. To them, it looked like nothing more than a strange stray beast. Hearing that, Hyenso's expression darkened instantly. "Stray?" His voice dropped. "Say that again." The pressure in his tone made the goblins hesitate. Still, one of them muttered, "We heard Bobo is Commander Hemis's pet, but this could just be a human trick." A few others began to doubt, but uncertainty spread. The protagonist clicked his tongue. "How can you not recognize him?" His voice carried complete confidence. Honestly, embarrassing. The goblin stiffened. His calm certainty shook them more than force ever could. He lowered Bobo slightly. "Show them." Beast mode. Fwum! Bobo's small body twisted instantly. His eyes turned wild. Drool fell from his mouth as his aura changed completely. The goblins stepped back in shock. "What is that?" The protagonist pointed forward without hesitation. "This is Bobo." "Then bite him." Bobo shot forward. She lunged at the nearest goblin. A scream followed. Blood splattered as Bobo tore into him mercilessly. The protagonist watched casually. A dog without a muzzle really makes a mess. Within seconds, only bones remained. Silence. The remaining goblins froze in terror. The protagonist looked at them calmly. Anyone still doubting? They immediately bowed. "We're sorry, we didn't know." "We truly didn't know." Just then, ding, a system notification appeared. Charisma increased, intimidation effect triggered. Hidden stat growth detected. He smirked slightly. "Good." A voice echoed from behind. "What's all this noise?" Cold, calm, commanding. The protagonist froze slightly. He turned slowly. Commander Hemis stood there, watching everything with mild amusement. Her eyes moved to Bobo. "So the cute little pet is causing trouble." The protagonist's blood ran cold. Meeting her inside the office was one thing, but here, in the open like this, felt far worse. Hemis let out a small laugh. "So you used my name to survive." "Interesting." The protagonist bowed immediately. "I apologize for the disturbance." Hemis tilted her head. "Apology?" She looked genuinely amused. "I didn't say that as criticism. I meant it as praise." He blinked. "Praise?" She smiled slightly. "You adapt quickly. And you're clever." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Not many demons here think like that." Then she added softly, "You even have guts." The protagonist hesitated. "Thank you, Commander." Rael whispered beside him. "Is this praise or a threat?" Hemis continued. "The demon army relies too much on brute strength. That always leads to unnecessary losses." The protagonist frowned. "What kind of losses?" Hemis simply smiled. "You'll see soon enough." Then she changed tone instantly. "Tell me, have you considered becoming an executive?" The protagonist stiffened. "Executive?" Before he could process it, Hemis continued. "Our army allows ranked duels. The winner takes the loser's position." She turned slightly. "You have 1 month. Prepare. If you win, I'll extend your protection another month. And if you keep winning," her voice turned colder, "you might even reach battalion commander." The protagonist swallowed. "What happens if I lose?" Hemis looked at him calmly. "Then you will regret surviving the battle." Silence. The meaning was clear. Losing was worse than death. The protagonist slowly nodded. "Understood." Rael sighed heavily. "I guess I'm saying goodbye in a month." The protagonist clicked his tongue. "Stop acting dramatic." Rael shot back immediately. "You're the one who got selected for a death game." They walked forward. The protagonist noticed the doors ahead, stained, covered in blood. "Kitchen!" He pushed them open. Creak! Inside, a massive red-skinned demon stood waiting. He turned slowly. "I am Culkin, the chef of the demon army." His eyes narrowed. "Why are you here?" The protagonist stayed near the doorway. "I need food. For Bobo." Culkin blinked. "Bobo?" He sighed. "So he has another caretaker now." Immediately denied. The protagonist froze. "Huh?" Culkin crossed his arms. "I have no reason to help a human. Commander Hemis only told me not to kill you. That was it." The protagonist quickly stepped forward. "There must be a way to arrange something." "It's for Bobo." Culkin paused, then spoke slowly. "If you want meat, you hunt it yourself." The protagonist turned pale. He looked outside. Goblin cooks were chopping meat that looked suspiciously like goblin flesh. This is worse than I thought. Soon, he stood before a massive wild boar, a beast that had already killed several soldiers. This is your target. Kill it. The protagonist stared. This is supposed to be food? Chaos erupted nearby. Screams, charging, blood. Shh! Crash! The boar charged violently. Rah! Culkin shouted. Avenge Morgan! The protagonist stepped back slightly. This is a mess, Rail whispered. We should run. He shook his head. No counts. Too many enemies, too chaotic. He stepped forward. Culkin suddenly spoke. It's over. The protagonist froze. What? Culkin pointed. The hunt is already done. Silence. The protagonist blinked. Already? A goblin reported. 12 dead, many injured. Culkin shrugged. Good enough. Break time. The protagonist stood frozen. They call this normal? Rail leaned closer. What now? The protagonist exhaled. We can't escape. Then calmly added, I need levels. Rail frowned. And how do you plan to get that? The protagonist's eyes narrowed. Final hit. Rail stared. That's shameless. He smiled slightly. Exactly. He stepped forward. Culkin noticed him. You want to join? The protagonist nodded quickly. I want to help. Culkin paused, then grinned. I like your nerve. Fine. You lead. The protagonist froze slightly. I'm honored. Culkin gave a thumbs up. Then, bang! A shout. Monster sighted! Culkin grabbed his weapon. Everyone gear up. Urn is here. The protagonist blinked. Urn? Culkin shrugged. Not tasty. Then smiled, but still meat. Shing! Weapons drawn. The hunt began again. Rail handed him a buff item. Ding! Temporary stats increased. The protagonist nodded. Good enough. Rail sighed. You should have used it earlier. Before she finished, bonk. He tapped her head. Next time faster. Then he ran. He charged forward. His mind locked in. Survive. Get stronger. Never die again. He leapt. Boom! The monster fell. System alerts exploded instantly. Level up 4. The protagonist froze. This fast. Hope ignited. Moments later, a cook tried to claim the kill. The protagonist casually stepped in. Bump. Oops. My hand slipped. The cook froze. The protagonist smiled. From now on, every final hit is mine. Later, monsters fell repeatedly. Rail sighed. Are we done yet? The protagonist grinned. Good work, support system. But then he saw it. The cooks were already eating the meat. Live, without hesitation. What is this place? Culkin walked over. You surprised? This is normal. Fresh meat spoils fast. The protagonist froze. No union would survive here. Culkin chuckled. This is why we stay. Food keeps us going. That hit him. Hard. He stared at the meat, then slowly ate a piece. Not bad. Tough. Simple, strong smell, but edible. Then, a thought formed. What if I improve this? His eyes sharpened. I can win them over. Through food. He opened the shop. Shh! Rail froze. He purchased cooking skill, seasoning MSG pack. Rail stared in horror. You used hero points on salt. The protagonist smiled. This is my path. Hansuk brushed it off and shook his head. You have no idea how powerful this is. Then he sprinkled it over the meat. FS. Instantly, the change hit like a shockwave. The smell turned rich, deep, almost intoxicating. The meat glistened as if it had just been reborn. Hansuk froze. No way. His lips slowly curved. I'm a king. For a moment he could already see it. A future where he wasn't a slave, but a food god. He proudly offered the upgraded meat to Culkin. Culkin crossed his arms. I'm full. Hansuk didn't stop. He leaned in. I poured my soul into this. Just one bite. If I die right now, I'll die happy. Silence. Culkin sighed. Fine. He took a bite. SF crunch. The moment it touched his tongue, everything stopped. His eyes widened. This taste. The flavor struck him like a memory explosion. Flashback sound, soft wind, distant voice, echo. Do you want meat tonight? A mother's voice, warm, familiar. Culkin's hands trembled. Mom. His eyes watered. I haven't tasted something like this since childhood. Sefek's quiet heartbeat slowing down. Silence filled the room. Then Culkin silently handed Hansuk a bag of meat. Take it. He turned away. It'll last 2 days, no more. Hansuk accepted it carefully. Got it. Back in the cell, thud. Bobo suddenly rushed him. Gah! Hansuk nearly jumped out of his skin. You damn monster! He quickly handed over the meat. Bobo calmed instantly. Nom nom nom, Hansuk exhaled. Eat all you want. Bobo devoured everything. Then, more tomorrow. Hansuk smirked. Yeah. Affinity increased. Hero quest cleared, plus 200 hero points. Hansuk nodded. Exactly as planned. Rail appeared beside him. Flicker. She pointed at the system screen. There's an item that boosts stats. Why didn't you use it? Hansuk frowned. I didn't even know how it worked. Then he clicked his tongue. Some idiot skipped the tutorial, Rail sighed. It's still not too late. Let me explain. Strength equals attack power. Stamina equals endurance and toughness. Agility equals speed and reflex. Mana equals magical energy. Hansuk tilted his head. And charisma. Rail's expression changed. That's a hidden stat. You can't increase it with points. Only experience. She paused. Distribute your points evenly. Hansuk immediately shook his head. No, strength is enough. Rail blinked. That's short-sighted. She explained calmly. Mana becomes essential later. A mana-reinforced body is far stronger than raw muscle. Hansuk silently adjusted his stats. Like this? Rail checked. Not bad. Then buy basic mana control skill. Hansuk looked at the shop. SFX, click, click. Not there. Rail froze. What? It should be common. Hansuk sighed. Guess you're useless after all. Rail snapped back instantly. It was supposed to be there! Just 3 weeks later, Hansuk reached level 100. SFX, ding, ding, ding. Level up chain, Rail muttered. You're leveling too fast. Hansuk clicked his tongue. Almost died 100 times for this. Rail replied softly. Normally it takes 6 months. Then quietly, I just wanted to get along with you. Hansuk looked away. You started this. A door opened. Crake, Goblin Guard, entered. The commander wants you. Inside Hemis's office, she smiled. You look stronger. Hansuk nodded. I've been working hard for Bobo's meat. Hemis narrowed her eyes. So it's the system. Hansuk froze. She knows? Hemis calmly said. I knew since we met. Hansuk stiffened. How? I know someone obsessed with heroes. Then, do you remember our promise? Hansuk nodded. Yes. Hemis' expression changed. Sefex, low hum, pressure rise. Then why are you so slow? Suddenly, her body twisted, cracking, transformation. A giant flower-like monster form emerged. Hansuk froze. Hemis' voice echoed. This is entertainment. Grow stronger or die. Hansuk realized this wasn't training. This was a show for her amusement. Rail panicked. What are you going to do? Hansuk closed his eyes. Think. Then opened them. I need information. He bought. Combat power meter. They tested it. 375. Hansuk 1,560. This thing is broken. Bubba 47,422. What? Silence. Hansuk smirked. Even the dog is stronger than you. Later, Captain Bulkman 14,300. Hansuk nodded. Over 10,000 is commander level. Opponent Kirkin 6,671. Rail whispered, You're being sent to die. Hansuk smiled coldly. Then I'll refuse to die. Next morning, Hansuk entered kitchen. Kulkin 35,230. Hansuk paused. This place is insane. He asked to spar. Kulkin refused. Hansuk leaned in. No spar equals no meat upgrades. Kulkin sighed. Fine. Opponent, Gorbachev 620. Sparring, whoosh! Bam! One kick. Silence. Gorbachev collapsed. I won. Hansuk stared at his foot. One hit. Then, Talis hunt. Screeching, skittering, hundreds killed. Then it's a roar! Talis Queen arrived. Hansuk checked goggles. Unreadable power. Running scenes, panic shouts, footsteps, screeching. Run. He ran into cave. Inside, eggs, silence. Drip, drip, eyes appear. Growl. Talis attacks. Egg thrown. It stops. Hansuk smirks. So that's your weakness. Final egg. Crack. Talis enraged. Hansuk panics. Rail, buff!